Hey, everybody, this is Vince Gilligan, and I am introducing episode 302, Witness, and it was directed by me, wonderful me.
This is Peter Gould.
Jonathan Banks. And this is writer Tom Schnauz.
Nina Jack, producer.
Robin Sweet, producer.
Jenn Carroll, associate producer, and Vince's assistant.
Yay, Jen!
Yes.
Jen.
This is awesome. We got you on this thing.
Thank you. I'll slip you 20.
Jen's gonna balance out my curmudgeonness with her youthful enthusiasm.
We had a great time filming this one. Beautiful Albuquerque.
So you say.
Now, this episode was cross-boarded, wasn't it? With the previous episode.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
It means
You were in
twice the
Albuquerque for
pain.
like 5 months.
What does that mean when you cross-board 2 episodes?
You shoot episodes. You intersperse a scene from one episode with a scene from another episode. If it happens to take place, what am I doing this for? I'm going to have a wonderful producer explain crossboarding.
So we shot 301 and 302 together, which means that instead of taking 8 or 9 days for one episode, we took 20. So if we were overlapping locations, we were able to get both episodes done in one shot.
So in other words, you guys, whenever there was a scene at Chuck's house, for instance, you'd spend a few days shooting at Chuck's house, and then you'd move on to the next thing.
Yep, absolutely.
And what's
supposed
the
to
advantage
be
of that?
Cost savings, theoretically.
I think it's more efficiency. I think cost savings, but I think it's more efficiency savings because we move around so much and we're such a location-based show that it enables us to sit tight in one place for a little bit longer than we might otherwise and not have to spend our time moving and theoretically spend a little more time crafting the scenes.
Crafting. I like the way you put that. Crafting the scenes.
This episode's
Sounds
really
like there's some
exciting.
thought that goes into it when you put it that way.
We finally got Giacomo on the show.
Talk about Giacomo.
Giacomo has auditioned for us many, many times, and it shows you actors in Albuquerque and all over the place. If you keep showing up, eventually the writers will find a perfect place for you on the show. We're just waiting for the right role.
Giacomo
We liked him
Bazell.
so many times he would audition, and he just never, not that he wasn't right, but it was just that there's so many good actors, and sometimes it comes down to a very small difference between people that we pick one over the other. But then this was a great role for him.
But the very fact, and as you guys were just saying, a good point, that if, on the one hand, you could look at it like, God, I'm an actor. They keep calling me in. They ought to know my work by now. They keep calling me in, and yet I never get the part. God damn it. You got to look at the other side of it. You wouldn't get called in over and over again if the producers don't really dig you. And we dug Giacomo, and it just we finally found the right, perfect spot for him. So.
And at this point in the show, I don't know if people know exactly who this guy is sitting in Chuck's house. That's what I enjoyed about the opening scene. Is it's a little bit of mystery of who is this man sitting in Chuck's house in the middle of the night in the dark playing cards.
What's the deal with the? I don't do any kind of preparation when I direct, so I should ask you this a long time ago. But what was the point of the puzzle, the word puzzle there, in the script? I read the script once. I have a vague memory of the word puzzle.
They've been there all night, right, Tom?
Yeah, it's just that he was doing some kind of puzzle, and I felt like Banks, Mike always does the crosswords. I think we just wanted something different.
Gotcha.
Than a word puzzle, and then I actually typed out a word puzzle in the actual script.
It's true.
There's a box of letters that.
But it is not what we ended up using.
No.
Man of many talents.
I kept on pushing for connect the dots, but no one wanted to go for that.
I kept pushing for him to quietly masturbate without waking up the other guy.
That's actually what he's doing, isn't it?
And this scene.
That's what I'm doing right now, people.
What is this location?
It is an electrical power plant.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It's a substation. You know what it is? Technically speaking, because the guy who was there, a real nice guy, it's an auxiliary plant that only kicks online when there's a higher load, when the Albuquerque needs more juice.
Higher load.
Marshall was so upset when we were filming this because there was too much moonlight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was afraid that he wasn't going to be able to get the beautiful darkness in the scene. And to have the moon be the problem? What can you do?
When does that
Damn
happen?
you, moon. Is that
And
it?
isn't this also...
That's a plane.
Well,
Yeah.
That is a plane. I was terrified of this location because with a normal camera, and we shot this on our Vericam,
Yes.
it would take you hours and a lot of money to light it. But this is very little movie lights that we added.
But Robin, you and Nina always tell us money's no object.
That's our secret.
This is also a location. Didn't we scout
I'm
this?
trying to make sure no one ever hires either of you again, so that we keep you all to ourselves.
Thank you.
Wow, look at that tracker. That was a group effort between our post team and the special effects.
Yeah,
Joe, who
that screen
designed a
is
3D
digitally
printer.
laid over there.
It is.
Yeah,
But
we
the
discussed.
tracker itself is built on a 3D printer.
It sure
right.
was.
Amazing.
It sure was.
We discussed some of this in episode 1 because Marshall was here. But
Yeah.
these are the shots that to
This
me
was
show off what this new camera technology can really do and what it means for our show specifically, because it gives us an expanse of night and the feel of being in the city, moving at night. It has a very documentary feel to it. It feels like you just went out and shot it, but of course that's not actually what's going on.
That sequence just then was the biggest clusterfuck because he had to drive without his glasses on, and I'm sitting next to him, and Paul, our camera operator, is in the back seat, and he's like, "Guys, I'm blind here. I'm blind as a bat." And I'm like, "Go faster!"
And it was raining.
It was raining, sprinkling.
But it was very safe.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a 22-year-old car with bad brakes. I'm sure it's all safe. It's perfectly safe. I'm just kidding. It was very safe. This was fun. This part was fun.
Those of you who are filmmakers, there's an article in this 2017, I think it's July, American Cinematographer.
Wonder Woman's on the cover.
Wonder Woman's on the cover, but there's a wonderful article about this season of Better Call Saul and specifically low light shooting, and it has a lot of great information that we'll mangle if you're listening to this on a DVD commentary. So I do recommend seeking out the American Cinematographer article if you're technically minded.
I actually voted for Marshall to be on the cover in the Wonder Woman costume, but they didn't go for it.
But Tom Schnauz volunteered.
I know,
I don't know
yeah.
why they didn't take him up on that.
It actually is Tom Schnauz on the cover. He's a remarkable, multi-talented individual,
He really is.
I shaved my legs for that as well.
among other things.
I love this. This is the old paint bay at the. This is the same locomotive factory we talked about in the audio commentary for 301. We shot this, I think, the same night as we shot the meeting between the veterinarian. Is that right, Jen?
Yes, and
same
that
night?
is not a real car that pulls up. Right? It's
Talk
two
about that.
It's two lights that. Who was it, Nina and Robin, that rigged up what department would that have
Grip
been?
department.
Grips.
The grips.
Yeah.
And so they rigged up with Marshall's help, two lights to be about space like headlights, put them on a dolly track and had it swing up and had our actor David walk right by them. And they look exactly like the headlights of a car. And then when they pull out, we switched it with a real car that drove off and you see it on camera.
We did
Movie
that,
magic.
and we did it, and you're listening saying, why the hell did they bother with all that? It's because there wasn't enough room to have the car parked sideways so that the headlights would face the camera.
And
This
what's going
shot
on
is
with this shot?
insane.
This was fun. What I did here was see the top, how the top's out of focus and the bottom's in focus. I was looking at the monitor while we were in between setting up shots. I was looking at the monitor on Matt's B camera, and he had the camera a little out of focus, and I thought, I kind of like the way the lights look out of focus, so we shot a plate just to the lights out of focus, and then digitally married the two together just to make it looks almost like one of that miniature photography. This was a great location.
How did you choose 3 locations that look so different and feel so different? Like, what were the considerations to not make people think you're going to the same place on several different nights? I love how,
Especially
each
since
one
there
of
are
the
bridges
places-
involved in 2 of them.
Yeah, it came down to a lot of it. A big part of it, as Robin and Nina will attest to, a lot of it's just making it doable. You got to find locations you can fit into the schedule, because every time you move the trucks, it's a big deal. David DeLisle here, by the way, excellent actor, did a great job. But there's you got to pick places that are logistically available, and then it's just like what's a cool place to have a clandestine money drop. happen. And a lot of folks worked real hard to find these places. Christian Diaz de Bedoya and his crew in the locations department did a great job finding those locations. That's the paint booth I was going to say earlier. That thing with the plastic ribbons. That's where they used to paint the locomotives 60, 70 years ago after they built them. And so that was where one of those drops was.
My favorite part of the sequence is that I didn't give Jonathan any dialogue in this, so he couldn't complain about saying easy peasy or who, or fuck you or whatever he wanted at the time. So it was just, I think we're just going to do that from now on.
That's the strategy going forward, right?
No dialogue, just his sexy face.
I love it that the guy with the saltiest mouth in the world complained on Breaking Bad about having to say the word fuck. Remember that? He literally did. I'm not making it up. His last line, just shut the fuck up and let me die in peace. That was funny.
Did he complain about that?
Yeah.
Well, let's say he did.
Okay.
No, but he thought it was just the wrong line.
Too
vulgar. He
had a point. I think, in hindsight.
I love this visual storytelling. It's just this sequence is so complex, and there's so many pieces, so many locations, and on the page, I think a lot of folks thought, well, how are we ever going to understand what's going on here? And it's for me anyway, it's crystal clear, and that's so much due to your work, Vince, and Kelly and Skip, and these actors. It's really special.
And I love the little hints you get of where we are through this without really revealing it. But you're like, is it? Are we here? Yes.
I'm glad. Anna Ramey Borden, by the way, our wonderful first AD. Oh, I love this shot. Matt Cradle, our B camera operator, did this in one take. He was balancing on a not rickety. I keep saying, make things. This is the safest crew, the safest bunch of folks I've ever worked with. It was a very stable ladder, but it was this, had a little shake to it, and he made this beautiful zoom by hand. In one take as he's standing 12 feet up on a ladder. He just nailed this shot, made it beautiful. This is the only take we got of it. But Anna Ramey Borden, back to her, she helped make all this work by scheduling it with the help of you two wonderful ladies to make, like, for instance, that was the sun was going down in the background of that shot just then with Mike. It was a little bit, except it played as sunrise. So, a lot of the scheduling you guys do help make sense of the story. And the scheduling's hard.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of scheduling, one of the trickiest parts of this episode is that wall right there. We had, I think, 5 different walls that were in different paint stages, and so our art and construction crew would switch them out as we shot all of these scenes inside this set out of order.
Because you have to allow for resets. When things are being painted or tape is being peeled, it's not just simply a matter of having that set. And a lot of work and thought went into that.
And this is a set this year. Last year it was an actual location, and this is on the stage, and they recreated it really beautifully.
Yeah, the hardest part was the roof, because they don't make that shiny copper material anymore, and so they had to cover it with that beautiful copper contact paper that was shiny.
The ceiling was a challenge. We did a lot of trial and error on that, and I think Michael Novotny and Paula DeSantos did a wonderful job in terms of getting that right.
And meanwhile, poor Tina Parker's watching this audio commentary saying, they're talking about the goddamn paper wall. I'm back for the first time in 10 years.
Francesca's back.
And we get to explain why Saul always called it the DMV instead of the MVD.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
This is one of those things that we're completely insane about. It's like in Breaking Bad. Where did Walt's watch go? We have to answer that question. Now it's like Saul referred to it as a DMV, and because none of us non-Albuquerque residents knew that it's actually called the MVD. So we kind of shoved in this explanation.
Had to get it right.
In here.
Had to get it right.
Shoehorned
it in.
It's
organically.
It's like the explanation of why the pizza on the roof wasn't cut into slices.
Cut.
So there you go.
I love it.
Both of those were, by the way, my episodes. The pizza on the roof and the DMV were both mine. So it shows my attention to detail.
We didn't force it in. This was not actually.
I'm just kidding.
Not part of what we boarded. It was just something I thought
By the
fun
way,
to do.
I always give Tom a hard time because he's my oldest friend. But great job writing this script.
Oh, God.
And how great is it, seriously, to see Tina Parker? She is so good here.
She's so good this year.
And she's playing a very different Francesca, because Francesca that we know and love from Breaking Bad is sort of world-weary and grouchy and has good reason to be because she works for Saul Goodman. But this is the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, happy, hopeful, positive, more like Jenn Carroll.
Are you going to turn into Francesca
in about a year or two?
If she hasn't yet, there's no way.
I know. She's been through the acid test for how long? How long have you worked with us?
This is my 7th year.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
So you started when you were 14 years old.
You still have a good attitude.
And you're still 14.
It makes it much easier.
Tina is such a wonderful actress. She, one of the things that makes her so wonderful is she makes these very well-chosen, very clear choices about how she feels about the other characters, and you start seeing all the colors as you go forward, and you see already she's excited about this job, but she can see that Kim is very buttoned down, and there's a lot between the lines that it's a wonderfully written scene, but there's also, she makes little choices that go between the lines too. They're just so much fun to watch, and you'll see that more going forward. She developed a relationship with Kim's character, where Francesca is a little bit wary of her. And Kim, I think, is a really good boss, but she's kind of detail oriented.
Yes.
Keeping that rocking chair rocking to just the right degree. Seriously, this is the kind of stuff. I know.
It stopped.
This is the kind of stuff that drives you absolutely nuts. As a either you don't worry about it at all, which I just can't do, or you fixate on it. And
it's going there.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yes.
That's the one little bit we just couldn't.
There goes your Emmy.
There goes the Emmy.
How great is this set, though? Because last season, the office wasn't really. We didn't get a chance to see in and build it out. But now we see he has his rocking chairs, the balls of yarn.
Yeah.
He's got the Statue of Liberty.
Inspired by Cracker Barrel.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Actually,
right.
I think that's where these chairs came from, right?
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah. In the dark of night.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you stole them from Cracker Barrel?
That's Cindy Coburn, who helps our production designer, Michael Novotny. She's our set decorator that found those.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, because they sell them in front of Cracker Barrel. They literally do. I'm not even kidding. They do. Yeah. I like Cracker Barrel. How those lights are digitally put in. The blinking light on the phone because the phone couldn't make it blink like that.
We just wanted to do that the most expensive way possible.
That's what Robin told
Most
me to
people
do.
would have like a little light bulb that flashes on and off. No. We need computer experts to digitally add that at a cost of
Well, that's I think
$250,000.
that's the tricky thing. I mean, we are a period piece, so these phones are dated and needed a little help to be resuscitated.
I know. That's
Didn't cost
old.
$250,000. Sony,
Cost $149,000.
We had to bring a special guy in from Senegal, a special artist.
the light specialist.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Can you spell your name for me?
she's so good here. And by the way, what about Ray Seehorn? And a big hand for Ray Seehorn and Bob Odenkirk. I was thinking that last scene. I love seeing them together. I love seeing Ray and Kim and Jimmy together. They got such chemistry.
I know, but
Always
I'm
fun.
worried about those characters. The better they seem together, the more I worry about their future.
How may I help you?
You know, everyone says, well, Kim's not on Breaking Bad. And I say, well, just look. All I'm going to give you, hopefully it's not a spoiler. Just look closely at Wendy. The next time, look really closely in the eyes when you're watching
I would
Breaking
not say
Bad.
that's ending well.
She gets to have a relationship with Jesse Pinkman.
Like the fish?
She did.
Great, yeah.
That's right.
But she lost her root beer, and I still feel bad about that.
That was great.
Deep cuts.
I love the way she played that.
Yeah.
I love the way she played that.
We're about to have a great cameo coming up.
Talk about it.
Our wonderful transportation captain, Dennis Milliken, is about to
3,
appear.
2, 1. There he is.
Yeah.
Yay, Dennis.
Look at that
Nice.
bolo tie.
Look at how he cleans up.
He cleans up. He does. He's almost presentable.
And can we talk
By the way,
about that gorilla?
Dennis is the human being. He's not the one holding a car over his head.
I love that gorilla. So talk about necessity being the mother of invention. Luckily, I had this artsy-fartsy shot here that went on like insanely long to do this with. Originally, you'll see in the deleted scenes on this box set you're holding in your hot little hands that you're listening to this thing on. In the deleted scenes, there was a whole scene that took place across the street where Jimmy gets tasked with this job.
And it's a good scene.
It's fun. You'll see it in the deleted scenes. But this episode still is long, but it was running so overly long, we had to find ways to compress it. And Kelly Dixon, our editor slash podcast hostess, who does such a great job, she figured out a way to lay the dialogue from that scene over this crazy long shot. Boy, this shot was really something to get. Paul and the guys figured this out well.
Takes a lot of rehearsal. I mean, you spend a lot of time getting those elements right and then get it in the first take.
Well, I don't know if we got in the first take, but I think it's probably take 6, I think is what this was. But by this, people probably think this is a Steadicam shot. It's not. There's a teeny tiny little dolly, and the camera is on a 360-degree rotating head, and the dolly's being rolled around here. So it's not actually a Steadicam shot.
It's a remarkable shot. One of the things that I've learned now after a few years of this crew is they can literally do anything that we can conceive of. And it's, of course, they need some time to figure it out, and asking early is always good. But the limit is really our imagination in terms of what their abilities are.
Our crew can do anything.
I agree. And they always embrace the challenge with enthusiasm.
Sure
I mean, they
do.
really take it on and get it done.
Great pride.
Diana Rose, the young lady here, whose name is Diana, her name tag. Some real imagination used there for the name tag.
Good job, Tom.
She did a good job.
Coming up with those crazy names.
Oh, Vince, do you remember when we scouted this for your director homework?
Oh.
We were in the empty restaurant. There were maybe 5 of us around, and you were almost finished when you looked out the window and saw a Winnebago pull up that looked awful familiar. And it turned out it was the Breaking Bad behind-the-scenes tour, unofficial. And right as all of these Breaking Bad fans were about to walk in one door, we ran out the back and back
Never
into the
even
scout
saw
van.
us.
Because we're keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
we worked very hard to keep this a secret. We would put up the exterior signs at the very last moment and
Everything was
unveil
coded.
them. And yeah,
Frings back. Excuse me. Frings back. I think we might have
Might have
kept
tipped
a
our
secret
hands.
by putting the code in the title of season 2.
Yeah.
Too, so everyone knew.
Still,
But
though.
still we were charged with the task.
That's right. Keeping it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I have to say, this sequence is a tour de force.
Isn't it, though?
It truly is. You're so into Jimmy's head here, and you did some things directing wise that I was not expecting, and one of them was to have him move tables, which I think was an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
I love
Well,
it.
it really came down to Tom wrote a great sequence, wrote a great script, and then it comes down to interpreting it. And all it really came down to was pretending I was having enough time there because our wonderful producers give me enough time to scout and think ahead. And just was me and Jenn was there the whole time helping me out. And just thinking in terms of, if I was going to do this, how would I try to keep an eye on a guy, but do it surreptitiously? And I love how he does the sugar thing.
Oh,
If you
God.
watch real closely. And look, if you watch real closely, he actually accidentally drops one in the cup. Yeah,
That is a lot of sugar.
that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
David here did a great job too.
Also, you had a special advantage on these first 2 episodes, which is that because it's the very beginning of the season, Marshall, our DP, was not shooting other episodes, so you were able to prep.
Yes, with
and
Marshall.
have more time with Marshall. Usually, for most of the directors in the season, you're getting a little moment with Marshall on. He's very generous with his time, especially on the weekends. But he's busy shooting an episode, so you got to prep with Marshall, and I'm still jealous about that.
And you do something in the sequence we don't do a lot of, which is you get some really tight close-up. You get like in on Jimmy's eyes, which is not something we historically do. That's more like back in the X-Files days. You get those really tight, choking close-ups.
Sexy to break the rules.
It is.
Makes me feel tingly.
I'm proud that we don't have we have. There are things that we've often done, but we don't make them hard and fast rules because every rule was made to be broken.
Who's this guy in the background? Get out of the shot! Stop trying to upstage the guy in the foreground. This was fun. This is a fun. When we figured out how we could really tease his reveal, Gus Fring's reveal, it was like a little light bulb moment. It felt so good to just bring him in slowly. And then I got to say, credit to Kelly Dixon, because that shot originally, he got closer and closer until he finally came into focus. And I wanted to do it that way, and she cut it differently. And I chastised her severely. I said, that's not the way I wanted it edited. And then she said, I know, I could tell you wanted it all in a water, you and your bullshit waters, But she cut it a little different, and it wound up being better her way to tease it out even longer, to not, in other words, not show his face there at all, because the original intention was to show his face there. So then his face has even more meaning when it gets revealed here coming up with Jimmy with his arm stuck in the trash can.
What was it like working with Giancarlo again after a few years?
Because wonderful.
You took him out of the Breaking Bad world.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And now here you are bringing him into the Better Call Saul world.
Yeah.
And how many years between do you think that was?
That was...
Probably 5. This is the 5th season since, because he wasn't in the first 2 seasons of the show, or the last 2 of
at least 5 years.
Yeah, but also there's a year between, 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
You're the mathlete.
Yes.
Jenn was a mathlete in high school.
Yeah.
She still is.
Add, subtract,
In my
multiply,
book.
divide. Math team pride.
There you go. Yay.
I love that Jimmy is wearing a red tie in the scene. It's like, because you know that he's doing something that's a little bit criminal, but it's a very subtle touch.
That's a good point. Yeah, again, a good point, Jennifer Bryant.
And this shot here, our special effects team, Bob House, rigged up the camera is not actually inside that trash can.
Right.
We pulled the back off, put the camera through.
We had a special trash can built in Europe, and we had it air freighted in the world's largest cargo plane. Because Robin told us to.
Good job, Robin.
I remember when we were doing the first camera test for Giancarlo's season, and he was standing actually on the Wexler McGill set, and we weren't rolling sound, but we're just shooting to make sure we're the hair and makeup and everything, since we haven't seen him in so long, and he just looks at the camera and goes, "Is everything to your satisfaction?" And it just sent a chill through everyone. We're like, "Wow, we're really doing this."
And it was wonderful. To answer your question, Peter, it was wonderful working with him again. He's such a sweet man, and we probably said this in 100 interviews. He's so unlike his character. He's such a sweet, warm, huggy type guy. And then and obviously he's being nice here. The character's being nice, but then when he turns it on, it's like, pow! It's just instantaneous.
Just tell me what you saw. He came in like you said.
I love this the little thing he did when he found the plastic thing in the trash can.
Went bold with the extra salsa, and he paid cash out of his left front pocket.
We were so lucky that this street exists across the street from the Twisters there, because we got there in the scout. You write this thing.
We had no idea when we wrote it.
I think I wrote a dirt lot in the script or something. I couldn't remember it was around.
And then we got there, and I looked around. For some reason, I didn't notice the street immediately. I looked around and said, "Oh my God, where are we going to put the vantage point? There's no place to put the vantage point. What are we going to do?" And then suddenly, thank God that cross street existed, because it worked out very nicely.
I would have built a street for you.
That's true. You would have.
I would have.
Money
You
is
had
no object.
motor graders and bulldozers standing by. Did you ever take them off the clock, or are they still on the clock?
Oh, shoot.
I would have put him in with the ostrich next door. I think they
Yeah,
would
there's
have
an
been.
ostrich next door. Seriously, talk about that.
Oh yeah, there's a
Feral
guy.
ostrich.
A feral ostrich.
Tail him to a new
Literally, if you look at the Poyos Hermanos, to the immediate right of the Poyos Hermanos, when you're looking at the front of it, is a big fence with an ostrich in there that will peck your eyes out if you get too close.
Just like Jonathan Banks.
Yeah. It might not be your eye, but some part of you will be removed.
Some appendage.
Yeah. Either your throat or your heart or your genitals.
Just like a chimp.
Yeah,
Just
like a
like
monkey.
an alpha chimp. You read about that sometimes. Yeah.
I love the end of this scene because it reminds me how great Jimmy and Mike are together. And Jimmy really does have Mike's back. They're going to be great together.
This
And
is
nothing
where
gets past Gus.
Here we
this
go.
is where he turned it. This is the first time he turns it on, and certainly in this season. And then just suddenly, it's like, oh shit! Just like you said, kind of the chills moment. Yeah, that was a good one. This was Jesse shot this, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Great job doing that little time lapse. I always get mad when we do time lapses and we have a clear sky with no clouds. That always bums me out.
Why weren't there clouds, Robin?
Yeah, Robin.
All the money went into paving the street.
Can anyone read that? That's his actual handwriting, right?
Again, like a monkey.
God.
He's not here.
That's
He's
the
never
third
going to listen to
notebook.
this.
Yeah.
Never gonna hear this.
I'm going to make a special copy of this that doesn't have any commentaries. And I'm going to give it to Jonathan.
What happened to the commentary for episode 2? We never got around to it.
Technical error.
How many days we were out here 4 or 5 days straight, right? Between doing the inside stuff and the outside stuff.
Yeah. That sounds right.
There's Al Goto doing the driving, our wonderful stunt coordinator. Al's actually doing the driving in here at this point. And he had to hit his mark just perfect, so you still saw the nose. He knew if he didn't, I'd start screaming and then hitting myself with the head over and over again. So he was under a lot of pressure.
We've learned.
It's a common problem we have in the writer's room with Vince. Don't trigger him.
Don't look him in the eye. Don't trigger him.
This is one of my favorite reveals of a
Victor.
cameo.
Yeah.
Or
This
reintroduction.
episode's loaded with Breaking Bad callbacks.
Jeremiah
Nice.
is not a smoker, so Paul, our A-camera operator who actually shot this shot, he doubled as a tech advisor of how to literally
No kidding.
how to flick a cigarette
I
butt out a
never would
window.
have guessed that.
For
And I kept
maximum cool.
and I kept telling him, Jeremiah, do your best to actually hit the camera with it, hit the lens with it, and he did, and he came close. Hey, here's Brandon K. Hampton who plays Ernie. Ernesto.
In his tuner with the crazy engine.
Yeah.
What kind of engine does that have?
Devoted.
Racing?
I think it's some nuclear something. Nuclear powered.
This is the scene that got rewritten the most for some reason. Is originally he goes in and he sees Jimmy, but then we've just rejiggered it so that
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, this is inside baseball. The blue spoiler in the back, Paul, our camera operator, had to operate it just perfectly so that the spoiler hid the real estate sign that is now in the side of the building, which we could not take down.
You're
this
welcome,
was-
Diane Mercer.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Diane. I didn't have to digitally erase it. Robin told me they'd take it down if need be, or build an entirely new building.
I was going to raise the building and put a new one up.
But I said no.
Personally.
That sounds
Because
borderline
Robin can do
profligate.
that.
You've seen me wield a sledgehammer.
Oh boy, I have. That's absolutely true. And not to give anything away, but
just going. I love that we ended up with that little silent scene between Jimmy and Kim, where they just sort of look at each other. And it's sort of the last moment when things are really good.
Yes.
Yeah. Before it all
And-
goes to shit.
Yeah, then it just goes all to shit after this.
How wonderful is Ray Seehorn?
She's the best. She's the best.
She's adorable. She can act up a storm. I love her.
she's also a real thinker. You know, when you talk to her about
I
the
wouldn't
show
go that far.
or about the character,
That's crazy talk.
she's got a lot of insights. She's very bright. I think she's
Yeah,
going to
she
go
is.
far.
I think she is. She needs a new pair of earrings, though.
No,
I keep telling her,
Never.
Robin will pay
Never.
for Tiffany.
never. Robin said, well, those actually are. We had Tiffany make those, Vince. I don't know if you know that.
Not the company, but a young woman named Tiffany.
Tiffany Goldberg,
That's right,
In
Tiffany Goldberg.
Albuquerque.
14-year-old
Wait,
Girl Scout.
Why didn't we send? We didn't send a jet to get the earrings.
Yeah.
I thought, never mind.
I like her earrings.
Yeah.
I like them too. Actually, I'm pointing them out, and I'm being goofy as usual. But actually, there's something wonderful about the fact, and this is a choice. All joking aside, on Ray's part, because she is a thinker and she thinks very hard about this. How many pairs of earrings would this woman have if she's been struggling financially? And also, she doesn't give a lot of thought to that kind of stuff. She just puts them on because they're there. She's not a fashion plate because she's got more important things to be doing. I love that.
Witchell, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
All these actors and extras in the background all did a nice job. They're good folks.
Mr. Witchell, just be a second, folks.
Gosh, have you guys had the soup over at Cracker Barrel today?
What? What? Hey, come on, I got people out there. Hello? I can't.
Give me $1.
Give you $1.
This scene was a little tricky to block out because we didn't realize when we picked Kim's wardrobe that she doesn't have any pockets in this skirt.
Oh yeah, you
And
dropped the ball on that big time,
I
Jen.
know. I'm surprised I made it
Nice going,
today.
Thanks for taking the fall.
But it works out great.
That was a joke. Jen never has ever dropped a ball ever, as far as I know.
Except when I tried to juggle. I don't have a juggling apparatus like some people in the room.
Peter.
Let me set the stage for you.
He's never shown it to us.
I've never seen your juggling apparatus.
We've heard about this juggling apparatus for years, and he's never brought it into the room.
The ceiling.
What they were just doing, I love how this scene calls back to the, give me $1. What Jimmy.
Yeah,
will
that
then
was
Now we
fun.
know where
Yeah.
Saul got it from.
Yeah.
I notice I'm leaving the whole juggling thing alone.
I was trying. I was helping.
Sorry.
trying to
That
help
was
you out there.
silent.
Then abortive attempt at getting a hobby. I'm just sad. There's certain people in this room who have wonderful hobbies that give them great joy, and then there's me.
Juggling and a juggling apparatus be like a pair of hands. That's about the only apparatus I can think
So
of.
you just do this?
Yeah.
You just,
That's all you is.
Can everybody at home see what
Yeah.
I'm doing?
I wish we had video.
We're doing gestures.
Is there
on
going to be a
this
special
commentary
DVD
track.
extra on this so that they can see this?
Space blanket in his desk drawer. Ernie was putting new batteries in it for.
I love that Kim is still on Jimmy's side here. Like she has every opportunity to see the criminal things he's doing and to just say I'm done with you, but she's in it with him.
I love that Ray hasn't quit our show in a huff.
Is that a possibility?
What do you know that we don't?
Yeah. What did you say to her?
I love how long we get to hold in this show. I love that we work for a couple of companies that allow us, that don't give us crap about, like holding on a shot this long.
That's true.
Yeah, seriously, I
You
really
get to
do.
have silences and things,
Yeah.
people standing and thinking, and it's great because it just feels real, as opposed to so many other shows where it's just
I always think about what
cut
you.
all the silences out and just get the lines bang, 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 and all the information out.
Yeah.
I always think about what you guys always say in the room, which is, you don't cut until you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
It really does have to move the story forward, and you hold to that.
If it's still working, why cut?
The lobby's full of clubs.
I think it's also so much. There's more to these scenes than the words. There could be an illusion that, as a filmmaker, that if people aren't talking, or there's nothing going on, or if it's not in the dialogue, it's not important. And we really try to use everything that we've got in the medium that we're working with here, and it's so far it's been working for us. I don't know if it works for everybody, but it works for me.
Gentlemen.
Can we just compliment Jen on that shirt?
Pleasure doing
This
Ted Raymond. Oh, you talked to this guy, this gentleman. Is he a Vietnam vet?
I think that was the perhaps Mr. Collins from last year, but I bet that this gentleman is too, Ted Raymond.
Well, I don't. Maybe no. I'm sorry. I might have confused the two. Sorry, I'm a beat behind.
Robin
here.
did just bring up his the wonderful shirt.
I'm sorry,
that
Robin.
he was wearing. That Jennifer Bryan again, whose name will be thrown around constantly on these commentaries because, and again, it's something that. I think that folks don't understand necessarily how important costumes are and the wardrobe is to a show. And it's not just a show that's in period or futuristic or something where they're building the wardrobe. But the clothes tell you so much about these characters, and I think they help the actors an awful lot. And Jennifer works
They'd be
really
cold
closely
without
with
them.
the actors. Yeah, that's true. They'd be cold. or sometimes, yes. Or sunburned.
It's a lesson out there for everybody. You do not want cold actors.
Yeah,
That's true.
want your actors in clothes.
You don't want naked
depending on the
actors
kind,
out
but,
there.
well, it depends on.
Well, it depends on the show. This is not an HBO
Nah,
show.
it's not an HBO show. So, Jen, you were talking a little bit before. This was the scene I recall being because he pulling off the tape. We had to have Nina. How many versions of this wall did we have?
27.
Was it? it was at least seven.
I believe it.
Seven. Was it only
No,
five?
I think it was 4, I think, total. But
That's it? That's
but
crazy.
there were multiple takes within them, and it felt like 27.
And every time you pull the wall, these guys rush. They're like a pit crew, but it still takes 10 minutes to swap out the wall, and of course, you're burning daylight. And boy, these are the kind of scenes that you don't even think about this when you're not until you're actually prepping to direct it. I would have never thought twice about this scene being a giant pain in the ass, but it is because of continuity, because of having to swap out a wall for every single take.
Well, also, in your matching, there's other things going on in the scene. So wanting to make sure that, where was he going to start so that he ended at the right point.
Exactly.
And determining all of those little details.
I love that he does the Chuck roll with the tape.
Yeah, that's fun. But what a pain in the butt. This is one of my least favorite kind of scenes to shoot because you don't get any credit for it. It's not flashy, but it's just like, how is he going to, what point does he finish rolling the tape? Are we ready to have another wall for take 2? Just all this crap you got to think about.
How do you really feel?
Well, no, I just mean I goof around a lot. I don't mean to say this just as a complaint. I mean it to say
it is a challenge.
It's astounding how much work goes into even the worst movie or the worst TV show you ever saw. And it's astounding how much little fiddling little details there are in the what would on paper seem to be the simplest scenes.
And how easy it can be to get caught up in those little details, and there's so much more that you have to pay attention to.
Exactly.
It's also an unremarked part of the acting craft because our cast is so good at doing all these little technical things and hitting things at the right moment, hitting the right spot for their lines. It's an aspect of performing that I don't think a lot of people know about or understand, but it makes a big difference.
It sure does.
This was something I was worried people would not either get or remember, but the tape roll very specifically in the previous episode, Chuck teaches Jimmy how to peel tape off without stripping the varnish in his house, and so this tape rolling really is something that triggers him, reminding him of Chuck.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. I like the way you did that.
And it's also a wonderful Dave Porter cue starting there that takes us into this next sequence.
Wonderful.
And it kind of gives it an importance.
It is such a treat to see the finished product with Dave's music on it. It adds such depth.
It sure does.
When we were scouting the scene, I almost got arrested because it was too good at doing its job of you don't want him to be able to see over the hill. So to practice that, I stood on one side of the hill and the rest of these lovely producers and Michael Novotny and Marshall stood on the other side. But it's up near a police shooting range. And so a police officer driving by couldn't see the rest of the crew, just saw me standing alone in the middle of the desert here.
We have some good photographs of you rising, cresting the hill.
You did not get arrested.
You were doing this.
Oh.
You were
Exactly.
showing us that this shot would work.
What a great
This
shot.
was one of my favorite days. Look at the bugs. See the bug crawling?
Oh, so good.
Halfway down a third of the way down the hill there, crawling right to left. This was fun stuff to shoot.
Beautiful clouds.
It's a great location.
Great location.
And after how many years in Albuquerque, and we are still finding incredible locations like this. I mean, what a city.
And that's Christian again.
Absolutely.
Christian. Okay,
this whole team.
Double Eagle Airport is just off to the left, just out of frame, where we shot the B-29 the year before.
And where
the
the border
Mexico.
crossing
And
is.
where the border crossing was. Albuquerque's got some wonderful natural beauty around. I love shooting in Albuquerque. Great place to shoot. I don't know if you can tell, but this thing actually is vibrating. Our prop folks were actually calling the number on this thing to make it vibrate, but you can't really tell. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
And I had him do that lion rating about 16 times.
How'd that go over?
Oh yeah, just as you would expect. God damn it, how many times? Wow.
I love this sequence.
We're joking. It's love. It's love that creates
Oh,
these
yeah.
jokes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
This is Patrick is so damn good this season, and I love this. It's physical comedy.
Yes. This sequence was so much fun during the scouting that we added a second backyard.
We sure did. It was only one backyard was scripted, and we just thought, gosh, it'd be fun if he went. Oh, and there was a rabid skunk here, right at the base of this tree. I'm not even kidding.
We
right
did
at
call
the base
animal
of the
control.
tree with the red leaves on it.
Yes.
And it
Yep.
was, and we had to call animal control
Is
because
this during the scout or shoot?
during the scout, this rabid skunk this poor skunk was in its last throes, and it must have been rabid. It was really nasty.
Well, and Patrick is so athletic, so we really had to work with him to get him to fumble a little.
He even gets the movements down in terms of like wearing a suit. It's just how he has to run and jump with that very well fitted suit.
He loves that suit.
I told him, I said, do this, go over this wall like I would. Don't go over it like you would.
Patrick's a triathlete.
Yeah,
by
he
the
is.
way.
He's literally a triathlete. As is Nina Jack here. Nina Jack is preparing. I always call her Nina Jack, by the way. I use her whole name.
I always expect
Like Billy
both.
Jack?
Like Billy Jack. Yeah, like Billy Jack. Are you related?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
That would
so.
be fun.
I'm going to say yes.
I think
would
he
be
kicked
fun.
butt just like he does.
And then here we're on stage, and the exterior is on a location. And this was the first time we'd shown the backyard, right? So
Yes.
that was a little tricky geographically.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Well,
About why it was tricky.
Well, it was tricky because the exterior of the house doesn't really match our stage set. So we had to really camouflage the geography of the exterior of the house, and there's a big pool back there.
There sure is.
Which was not appropriate. So this took a lot of patience to sort out.
It sure did.
What a great job by Sherry Montesanto, our makeup artist, because we shot the inside and the outside 2 separate days. But Chuck's very specific wound where it wasn't healing had to be identical, cut to cut.
She's wonderful. Sherry, who I worked with on Tom and
X-Files.
Nina.
And Nina, I'm sorry. Jesus. All three of us worked together with Sherry on the X-Files. Yeah, years ago.
But it's true. Sherry does such wonderful beauty makeup and naturalistic makeup on the men, but also did all of our prosthetics this season.
Yeah, fantastic.
Very talented. We're glad to have her aboard.
We can't just sit back and do nothing. I'm not talking about doing nothing.
It's interesting. This season, there are so many scenes between these two characters, and I love every single one of them. There's such all these interesting undercurrents between Chuck and Mike. I'm sorry.
Chuck and Howard.
Chuck and Howard.
I do that too.
God damn it. Chuck and Mike. I'm going to just curse up a storm. Yes.
Their relationship really shifts throughout the season. I love this scene setting up Howard really being on Chuck's side and believing the best in him.
Yeah. I love that tie. Look at that tie. I mean, I wouldn't wear it myself, but I mean, it looks good on him.
We should all dress like Hamlin.
And always see little things too,
Especially
like the tie
Robin.
tack. The tie tack. You don't see tie tacks that much anymore.
They're coming back, though. Apparently, the tie bar
Tie bars, is that what you call it?
Tie bars, or whatever that clip is called. They were very difficult to find season 1, and now they're very common. This is amazing.
He does. These two guys do such a great job. And Paul, our camera operator, who did this all handheld, great job.
Because we're mostly on sticks on this show, but this is one time where you felt that it was just perfect to have it be handheld and have it be more Breaking Bad shaky.
Didn't want the smoothness of a Steadicam. Wanted it to be down and dirty.
It's raw.
Raw. Raw. That's a good word. Wanted it to be raw. And he really hurt himself here a couple times.
He was running around with sharp scissors and a poker.
All joking aside, I worry when he does a scene like this because I worry he's going to be so in the moment, he's really going to hurt himself badly. He's really going to break his hand or something. Luckily he didn't, but we had to ice his hand between takes because he kept whacking it.
Yeah, that was like season 1 and episode 201 when he was kicking the door in the garbage room. He was really hurting his knee and stuff by banging into it. So.
Yeah. He commits.
I think the blocking of this scene is so beautiful because it has to be so in your face and you have to be so scared, but at the same time, he can't break the law so far that he would go to jail in future scenes because you had broken so many episodes down the line, so you knew exactly what was going to happen legally with him, that it's a very tricky balance.
You can't ever lay hands on him. And Jenn was a big help to me. You were a big help because I would say to you, are we doing everything right here? As far in terms of what we know has to come later in terms of legality of him being in trouble to law, but not in trouble for actual physical assault. So thank you for that.
We just kept calling Jenny, who wrote episode 303, to say, like, this is what we're doing. Does this work with your script?
Exactly.
Wow.
This was a tough couple episodes to direct, but I in hindsight, I enjoyed it.
They're great.
Not what was happening, but in hindsight.
We screened these 2 episodes for the crew while the show was still going. And I remember coming in the Monday after the screening, and everyone had such a lift.
Yeah, Robin and the production office team put a great screening together, and Chemo was wonderful.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.